Forrest, are we ready?
The city or the county is taking
All right,
possession.
I'd like to call the special meeting for Tonganoxie USD 464 Board of Education to order for Thursday, November 6th, 2025. I'd like to review the agenda real quick just to level set. So we've got a couple of quick action items. I think they'll be fast. We are going to adjourn into executive session, and then we're going to have a board discussion about superintendent characteristics. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Is there a
Second it.
second? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Mr. Bruni will be here as soon as possible, and Mrs. Balmer is one of our school board elects, and she has joined us tonight, so welcome. So there's two action items. I'm going to do my best to articulate them. If there's any questions, Mitch is here. So the first one is an AIA agreement with HTK, who's the architect and engineer for the TES HVAC project. That agreement is based on a percentage of the GMP fee. If for any reason we decide not to move forward with the GMP fee, we will be charged on an as incurred basis for any work that they've done to that point. So at this point, there is not a specific dollar amount, but in the interest but the percentages are in the agreement. It is in our interest to get them working if we have any interest in doing that HVAC project next summer. So again, HTK is the architect, engineer, and they're bringing structural, mechanical, those folks too. Any questions? Okay. I would move that we approve action item 2.1 as presented, the AIA agreement with HTK. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign, motion carried 6-0. The second action item tonight is approval of a contract with Esky and Associates. So you guys remember Erin Merrill from Esky and Associates that helped us with the high school project. Frankly, I think she was a lifesaver during that. I think we need her during this. Her fee is very nominal compared to the value that I think she'll bring. And we had her in here. We did interviews with the construction management firms right before this, and she's already fully engaged. And I think bottom line is I would articulate that we need Erin's help. Mitch, any comments or questions from the board?
The only thing I would just add on, this is heavy in the pre-construction phase of this project. So this contract is a lot of what we're doing right now with RFPs, approving the RFPs, and Erin's just the expert in all things legality of it, more so than anything, but not only that, just her expertise in asking the right questions and doing these things. So this agreement really is built around our construction projects that we're doing currently, the ones we have planned, and her services in the pre-construction, not maybe so much the on-site day-to-day, because this isn't a 3-year high school build. We're talking about 2 months in the summer. So that project management will probably happen more on the district level, but we're really have already engaged her and will continue to engage her in the pre-construction services. That's what this really is, and it's kind of a on-standing agreement for not only this, but the next project that we decide to do once we complete the elementary HVAC. So.
Okay. Questions about the agreement with Esky and Associates? All right, I would move that we approve action item 2.2, contract with Esky and Associates for pre-construction management services. Is there a second?
I would second.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried 6-0. All right, we are going to adjourn to executive session. Dr. Hubbard, how long do you think we need?
20 minutes, we'll
Okay.
start.
I would move that we adjourn to executive session for 20 minutes, include Dr. Hubbard and the board, to discuss non-elected personnel matters and to discuss negotiations. Is there a second?
I second it.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Not right now.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
All right, we're good. call the regular meeting back to, or the special meeting back to order. No actions coming out of executive session. Item number 4.1 is board discussion around the survey and characteristics report.
Take one and pass it along.
And we'll ask Dr. Hubbard to help us with that.
All right, so, first of all, I just want to thank you for inviting me into your schools today. Kids were amazing, staff were amazing, your community groups were so positive, and for me, it just kind of brought a sense back of being a classroom teacher and being 7 different groups throughout the day. It was great. But I also would just tell you there is a huge sense of pride, large community pride in your spaces. And people are very proud to be associated with the school district. The first thing I want to do is go over your survey. You will see just coming around to you is an at-a-glance page. And honestly, everything from the survey is on this at-a-glance minus the comments. So there's several pages of comments in the larger document. Both of these are in board docs for people that would like to review the results. They're already uploaded in there under the discussion item. One thing I want to point out in the comments, if you see a black box in the comments, I did redact anything that specifically named a person, and because it was considered personnel. So there were very few of those, which is nice. And also, I did not have to redact anything negative in regards to profanity, which is also a really positive thing. If you look at the at-a-glance document of the survey, overall you had about 552 people participate, at least in most of the survey. Some people didn't complete every question, but generally speaking, you had pretty good participation. The student participation was extremely high. I would guess there was probably some sort of organized effort on students' part, which good for them. But that is probably an outlier in regards to data that I typically see in school districts. But I do think student voice is very important, so it was great. Because they were such a large group, I did also run the data and look at it with the students removed. And generally speaking, the data was pretty similar. There were a few small changes, but nothing that I would say was statistically different. As you can see that almost half of the group that took the survey have been here for 11 years or more. We had a variety of participants that took the survey. In the top 5 personality qualities, keeping in mind this is a scale of 1 to 8, so that let's just talk about kids' first personality. That average ranking was a 2.91, keeping in mind that 1 is the score you want, low is the score you want, not high. And 52 people named that as their number 1 choice in regards to personality qualities. And then I'm not going to read all of them to you, but you can see the 2, 3, 4, and 5 there. In regards to leadership qualities, being a proactive forward thinker shows up as number 1 with the average ranking of 3.18 and 82 people saying that was their number 1 choice in regards to a leadership quality. And then in regards to experiences of a future candidate, you can see there that either superintendent experience or experience in a like size, a similar size district, and then also a lot of those district operations show up there in regards to operation facility budget. And so the number 1 being that previous superintendent experience is important, with an average ranking of 3.01 and 147 people saying that that was important. The single quality or characteristic that shows up is honest, trustworthy, with a strong integrity. I don't think that probably surprises anybody. Kids first, student-centered leader, and communication and listening skills. Over on the right, you will see the 5 most critical issues the next superintendent really needs to understand for them to have a successful start. Teacher support and retention. And I would tell you, we're going to talk about the focus groups a little bit more, but I would almost say that should say staff, not just teachers. It was really a long conversation today around both classified and certified. Budget management, you're going to see that a lot in the focus groups. Educational quality and curriculum, community engagement and transparency, and equal treatment and inclusivity of all people in the school district, and that was both students and staff. With that being said, do you have any questions regarding the survey for me?
Comments or questions? I think from looking at both the survey at a glance and the more detailed, I would tend to agree. I don't think there was really, some of the comments were certainly interesting. I don't think there was anything in the more detailed document that wasn't covered in the summary. I think the results are, my assessment will be pretty close aligned to what the board views as important, and probably not surprising outcomes from my perspective, but other comments?
Okay, then I will move on to the focus groups. So in front of you, you have a copy of the focus group report. Ryan, do you have one of those?
Yeah, I gave you one.
Okay, perfect.
Yep, it's in there.
If you will look at page 3, that is the schedule that I followed today. So there were 7 groups. And if you will turn to page 4, I do want to comment really quick that this is a draft document until we finish tonight. So it has not been uploaded for community viewing yet. It will be a public document once we finalize it tonight, which it'll probably be finalized by early next week. So if someone's looking for it out there online, it's not there yet, but will be in the future. On page 4, the focus groups, there were 7 of them with a total of 76 participants. You can see I started the morning with high school students, and then through the buildings and the community focus groups, we really had representation of students, certified staff, classified staff, community members, and I would even say a large representation from community agencies and local agencies that you all work with on a regular basis, which is always nice. So I want to start with, we focused this around 4 questions. And the first one was to describe the most important leadership and personal qualities you would like to see in the new superintendent. You're going to see some patterns here in regards to the alignment with the survey. These were the things, I looked for patterns amongst the groups. And so the number on the left, so let's just talk about transparent and great communicator. All 7 focus groups said that in some way, shape, or form. Like that was their top thing that they said were most important in leadership and personal qualities. And I always want to say this, that, and I said this to the groups, we're not saying that your current superintendent doesn't do these things, because he's a lot of these things. So I wanted to make it really clear. We're not saying that we don't have some of these things already. It's just that what is really important to us. So as a board, I would like for you all to just kind of take a look at that. And from these 4 questions, we are going to develop, you all are going to develop as a board, the top 8-ish things that are really, really important as characteristics that you're looking for in the next superintendent. So I will really focus those in off of and finalize those off of these 4 questions and where you all land with that. So what I'd like for you to do is just have a brief conversation in regards to this particular question about what are the things that are most important to the board.
Do we want to go through each category, or is this more of everything combined?
I think we briefly go through each category, and then I will work to combine them on, if that works for you, or we can just do generally speaking. That works for me as well.
I think if we go through each category, it would be easier for people to think through it.
I think too, it gives you an opportunity to see those patterns that came out through your focus groups.
Okay. So page 5 is important leadership and personal qualities you would like to see in a new superintendent. I can certainly start. I think transparency is really important. A leadership quality that I think is important is to hold people accountable for their job duties and the expectations of the district. And certainly communication would be 3 that would come to mind. And I won't go first every time, because I'm guessing a lot of people have the same thoughts, but let's go around the room.
So
Yep.
I'll follow that up. Transparent is important, good communicator. I think living in the community is important. I think academic focus is important, and budget and finances are some important topics for me.
I'll go ahead and go to, so looking at this list, I think being invested and really focused in the community, building connections across the community and groups is important. I also think being knowledgeable about special education, I think is something that we need. And I agree with transparency and other things too, but just trying to look for new things.
Perfect.
I think the good listener, because I think that we're in a place in our district where we need someone who is ready to listen to the needs of everyone in all the areas, the teachers, the staff, the parents. You need to be able to listen to what they're saying and kind of understand what they're saying, because sometimes people don't always say exactly what they mean. So they need to be good communicators. And a good communicator, and also I think forward thinking and goal oriented for our future.
Ryan, Karen, Stephanie?
I'll go. I mean, I think everything. I think we've really established with what's already been said, like our top 8, really. But I think I'm just echoing honestly what's been said, because I think it's super important to be a good communicator and transparent. I think they go hand in hand. You have to be approachable. I think that's really important. And if you're approachable, you're probably going to be a good listener, hopefully, right? I think those go hand in hand. It's always important to have the budget in mind. And I think that's what I think.
Great. Ryan?
I think you guys have hit on all the. I
Perfect.
agree.
All right, I think that's a great place for me to finalize that particular one. Thinking about the strengths and the great points of the district that the new superintendent will need to know and understand. This one was fun for me because I just feel like, again, this is where I felt that really sense of pride in the community and that people love to be here. There's a lot of loyalty. You can tell people maybe leave for whatever purpose and come back to raise their children, which is, I think, something every small community wants, right, to be able to thrive. So, thoughts in regards to this question?
I'm not starting this one because going first is the easiest. Stephanie?
I definitely agree with the small town values and being engaged within the community, having that community pride, and really being very mindful of. I think our communities. We want the best for our kids here.
I will go. I believe the small town value is important, community engagement. Obviously, I believe community pride would be in that category as well. And great academic experience would be good.
Yeah, I would also add to that multiple student opportunities outside of the classroom. I think we do a pretty good job of that here, and continuing to have those opportunities, I think, is really important.
It was really fun to listen to the high school that specifically talk about this. Other people did too, but the high school, they were really proud of their club picture day and how many kids, if you're not involved, it's because you don't want to be, because there is an opportunity for everybody and some, and in many cases, more opportunities than kids can even handle in their schedules. So, but you could just feel a sense of pride as they talked about that.
One that I would add also is that the community is a place to propel to the next level. I think we have a community that really cares about the future of our kids and is willing to support them.
I agree with what everyone else has said. I kind of highlighted small town values and community pride. It was said a couple of times, but I think a new superintendent should certainly understand both the importance to the community and the effort that's been spent around some of the CTE programs. So I think that's really important to Tonganoxie, and certainly, we've spent a significant amount of time and effort and resources to build that. So I think that'd be important for them to understand the importance to the community.
I think too, in regards to the propel to the next level, I want to take this opportunity to share just some of the thinking around that. There was so many amazing compliments about Mr. Feldkamp and the things that he has done in his tenure here, and bringing facilities up to speed, and that we've done a lot of great things in the last 7 years, and that he's really set the district up to take that next step to propel to the next level. So I want to make sure and be clear that that was a really positive, 100% positive, and really appreciation of the district for doing the things, and Mr. Feldkamp for his leadership up to this point.
I think the only other thing I'd like to see, two things. I'd like to see academics probably higher on this list, and I'd also like to see safety protocol, quality safe schools, low crime. I mean, that's what we build the whole new school on. I think it needs to, we can't forget about that. I think it still needs to be closer to the top, something, the forefront of our minds.
Perfect.
I think they need to understand the great kid-focused staff. We need to make kids our main focus above everything else.
Okay. Are we good with this one? Critical needs. This is always, with every focus group I've ever done, this is always the question that's easiest for people. It's always easy to point out the things that we don't like. So, I just try to describe it as we all have needs, and we all have things that are important to us individually or as a building or even as a district. But thinking about this next superintendent, what if I came in and I was your superintendent on July 1, what do I really need to know? Like, what do I need to know to be successful in year one? And what are the things that should surface to the top of the list? So think about it from that perspective. What are the most, because there's probably nothing on here that's not critical to somebody or some building. So, but what are the big items that the superintendent, they're going to come in, there's going to be a lot of things. What is it they really need to be focused on?
I'll start. I would say academics, budget, and the culture would be my top three.
Yeah, I would echo not to minimize culture, but I would certainly echo academics and budget. I think we're in a pretty good space budget-wise, but we did have a slight decline in enrollment this year. We know that public school funding and budgets in Kansas is not getting any easier. So, this isn't necessarily about righting a wrong, but it could be something that could get really out of hand really quick if it's not something that they're focused on and have some experience with.
I would also say, just layer on top of that, really innovative and creative ways to maximize the budget
100%.
as it gets more difficult and more difficult. Because you're right, it's not about it's been righting the wrong, but we're going to have to be more creative and innovative in schools in Kansas regarding budgets.
I would like to say that we're going to have the HVAC concerns fixed before the next he or she gets here. So.
I was quietly chuckling as you all were approving that, thinking about this list today.
I would say growth around academics, budget, and I think our communications needs to be elevated to getting the good word out about things that our kids and our staff are doing on a daily basis.
Okay.
I agree, academics is huge, and then staff recruitment and retention is a really big thing that we need to work on.
I was gonna add, that also about the staff recruitment and retention. And really, kind of goes back to the culture too, just like being sure that our staff are feeling respected and valued.
So many of these things all play together.
They really do.
Yeah.
And they go back to that first question about leadership qualities. So you're absolutely right. We good with this one?
Ryan, Karen, anything to add on this?
Anyone?
We got it.
Yeah, I think we got it.
Okay.
Okay, and then that last one, and this is, I like to describe this question where I hope that you all have 3 amazing candidates in front of you that have the things that are knowledgeable, that have those experiences, that are so excited to be here and be part of the community. So if you have 3 of them that have all of those things, what is it that really sets one of them apart from the other?
I would say goal-oriented and a visionary, able to kind of look out to the future and see where we need to go and kind of guide us towards that by setting goals.
I'm gonna go more tactical than Stephanie, and I hate to, but I'm gonna bring up academics and budget again. You know, as a district with, you know, we don't have, you know, we don't have 10 assistant superintendents, and one of them's a CFO and one of them's a facilities person, and, you know, a level of generalist, but that can really go pretty deep on academics and budget. I don't think we can underscore that one enough. They're gonna have to be good at both, and those are both important to, at least to me.
When I say goal-oriented, I'm thinking budget,
Well, fair,
academics,
fair.
being able to set those goals and work towards them.
Well said, that's fair.
I would say the highly engaged in schools, the passionate, high energy, interactive, you know, not doing things just to check the box, but doing it with a purpose that adds value and gets people excited.
I think that will go a really long ways in your buildings. After just the conversations that I heard today, that visibility, I mean, they're excited to see someone in their classrooms. Even you all come to our classrooms. We would love for you to come read to kids. We would love for you to walk through our classrooms. I heard that in multiple spaces. They were like, we want people to see what the amazing things that we're doing in our schools.
What else?
The other thing for me is doing what's best for the district. I think also just being sure that people are valued equally. I think those kind of get back to the culture thing.
Yeah.
Any other final thoughts on this category, guys?
I think we.
Okay, so if you guys are good with this, what I would like to do is take all this back, and I'll draft the final copy and have it back to you by early next week. And we will, I know I will have applicants that will ask for this report, and I'm guessing you're gonna have teachers that wanna see the final, or people that participated, not just teachers, staff, community members that participated that will likely want to see it also. So with that being said, I think we're good there. I would like just to bring to your attention phase 3 of the process, and have you, if you brought your book, and even if you didn't, if you would just really take some time before we meet the next time to look at pages 23 through 34. And thinking about that interview process and what kind of questions you would like to ask, and also what kind of questions you should not ask to keep the district legally where you should be. And what I would like for each of you to do is to email me 3 to 4 to 5 questions that are really important to you, and really thinking about these characteristics that we talked about tonight. I mean, thinking about being a great communicator, thinking about budget, and what kind of questions you want to ask around those topics and those characteristics so that you can really get to the heart of that. And from those questions that you submit to me, I will narrow it down and take out our duplicates, maybe combine some that might be very similar. And then I'm going to add anything that I feel like that you might have missed. So if you want to add like 8 questions because you're like, we need more than that, I would just be assured that between the 7 of you, we usually get way more than we could ever take care of. And when we have gaps, I will fill in those gaps, and I will bring back when we meet and determine the finalist. And again, that will be done in executive session for a couple of reasons, mainly personnel, and we're not going to expose the all the questions that you're going to ask in an interview from a confidentiality standpoint, but I will have a draft prepared for you all so that you can see that and you will be ready for that next step. So questions you have for me in regards to process, timeline?
Can we, not to put you on the spot, could we cover off on timeline real quick? Just
Absolutely.
in terms of what's next and help?
Let me grab that. I don't want to.
I'm sorry, I should have brought it up. I put you on the spot.
I have it right here. I believe. I thought I did. Okay, let's talk about timeline. The window is open. The applications are due January the 7th, so it will be open from now through January the 7th. I am fielding phone calls currently from applicants. I would say publicly, if there are applicants that have questions about the characteristics report, that have questions about the process or the timeline, my information is published on the flyer, so and on the posting at KASB. So I encourage anyone to call me, email me, text me, and I would be more than happy to have a conversation with them. And then the one date I don't have, Justin, in front of me is the board meeting where we will review finalists. Anybody have that on the top of their head? I can look it up really quick if not.
On this paper.
It will likely be the Monday after January 7th.
I was thinking around the 16th or something.
I think the interviews were the 14th, so it's sometime between the 7th and the 14th.
The 12th is what we have
12th,
on
okay.
here.
That would be the Monday.
There you go. And remember, at that meeting, we will do finalists. We will finalize the interview process. We will finalize what will take place in the interview. We will finalize negotiating a contract, and I will work with you all to make sure you're comfortable to negotiate the contract. Just a reminder, the board, KSB, does not do that. That is a function of the board. You all will determine the contract and negotiate the contract with a potential candidate.
And we'd still be looking at that January 14th, 15th, 16th to do the
Interviews, or maybe a combination of those, but those are the dates that we have cleared in calendars for that to happen.
So do we have enough time between the January board meeting and which is the 12th, and the 14th, 15th, 16th for anything?
I would say yes. So before I come in on the 12th, anybody who I'm going to recommend to say, these are people you would consider as a finalist, I will contact them ahead of time and say, hey, I'm considering sharing your name with the board. Are you still interested? Because if they're going to say, oh no, I've already taken a job, or I've decided that it's not a good match for me, there's no reason for us to waste time looking at them as a finalist, right? So I will confirm those, and I will tell them then what your anticipated schedule is, and I will tell them if they are a finalist that they will hear from you. So they're going to know the published timeline of the dates. If they want to be the candidate for this job, they're going to have that blocked out.
Okay. And then Tanya, Audra will probably lean on you guys as we reach out to those finalists for scheduling and the like.
And then I have told people I anticipate that you will make a decision publicly by February 1st, Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I think we need to, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so we have homework. She even told us the pages we need to read, so dog ear your pages. so you can
Yes.
read them. Any other board discussion?
I got a question. So our contract, does it need to be updated or reviewed?
So I took a look at your contract, and I think it has a lot of nice qualities in it, but I would be happy to have it reviewed by the KASB legal team if you would like for me to do that.
Okay,
It's probably a good idea.
Yeah, I remember we done that previously
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
had that updated.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. Just
Great.
because, you know, we want a contract that is, you know, gives the school district the, you know, a level of protection and assurance, but we don't want something that's too onerous and chases people off either. So love to have other eyes on it. That'd be great if you don't.
I'll get it to them.
Okay. Other board discussion? Dr. Hubbard, thank you. I know you had a busy day.
Again, thank you guys. It was a great place to be today, so you guys have a lot of things to be really proud of, so.
Thank you. Meeting is adjourned.